Pentatonic scales aren't just for beginners. This one scale type can unlock tons of great ideas over any chord progression. And whether you're really new to improvising or you've been playing for years, there's going to be something here that's going to really push your playing forward. To create a major pentatonic scale, all we do is remove the 4th and 7th note from the full major scale. Now, every major pentatonic scale also has a minor pentatonic scale. The only difference is which note you think of as home. So the first approach is nice and easy. We just use the pentatonic scale that matches the name of the chord. So for example, on an A minor chord, we can use the A minor pentatonic scale. Check out this example over the beginning of Blue Bossa. Now next up, we're going to expand our palette of sounds by using not just a root-based approach. So for a C major chord, yes, we can use the C major pentatonic scale, but we can also use the G major pentatonic scale. If you look at the notes of the G major pentatonic scale, you can see they're all found within the wider C major scale. And you can see we're hitting the 5th, 6th, 7th, 2nd and 3rd scale degrees. Interestingly, the only difference between a C major pentatonic and a G major pentatonic is that we're now playing Bs instead of Cs. And because the B is the 7th degree, it's a higher extension than the root note C, it has more of a floaty kind of sound. So check out this example phrase over a major 2-5-1 in C major. When I hit that C major chord, I'm going to use the G major pentatonic. Now, sticking with these major chords, along with the G major pentatonic, we can also use the D major pentatonic on a C major chord. Now, at first glance, it might not look like it's possible because in the D major pentatonic, we've got an F sharp. What this is doing is creating something called a substitution. We're implying not just a C major 7, but a C major 7 sharp 11. That F sharp is what's known as the sharpened 11th. Check out how it sounds over that C major chord in a 2-5-1. Now, this idea of using pentatonic scales to imply different chord types can also be applied to the dominant 7th as well. One really common one is to use the D flat major pentatonic when we hit the G7 chord. And so when we use that D flat major pentatonic scale over the G7 chord, we're implying this more altered sound. Now, it's more of a tense sound, but that gets released as we move to the C major chord. So in this 2-5-1, on the D minor chord, I'm going to use the D minor pentatonic. On the G7 chord, I'll move to the D flat major pentatonic. And then on the C major chord, I'm going to use the G major pentatonic. And that sounds like this. Now, so far we've been using the traditional major and minor pentatonic scales, but you don't have to stick with just this format of pentatonic. For example, if we take the A melodic minor scale and take out the notes 1, 2, 3, 5 and 6, we can create a different kind of pentatonic scale. Now, because this pentatonic scale comes from the A melodic minor scale, we can use that pentatonic over any chord that lives inside of the A melodic minor scale. So for example, in a minor 2-5-1 to E minor, we have F sharp half diminished. And so we're going to use this A minor 6 pentatonic on that F sharp half diminished chord. Now, I was also using the C minor 6 pentatonic on the B7 chord, and that's because we can use C melodic minor on a B7. That creates a B7 altered sound. And I was using an E minor 6 pentatonic when I landed on the E minor chord. Now, there's another kind of pentatonic scale that you can find within the melodic minor. If we go back to our A melodic minor scale and you take the 5th, 6th, 7th, 2nd and 3rd note, that is almost the same notes as an E major pentatonic scale. The only difference is we have a C natural instead of a C sharp. So I like to call this scale the major pentatonic, but it has a flattened 6th note. Now, as I said, we can use these group of notes over any chords that come from the A melodic minor scale. One of those is a D7 sharp 11 chord, and you'll see those kind of chords all the time. They function as what's known as secondary dominant chords. So for example, in There Will Never Be Another You, measures 13 and 14, this is an example of a secondary dominant. thing I really like about using these pentatonic scales when you're improvising is it has a really cohesive sound. If you're interested in learning how to improvise from the very beginning in a step-by-step way, then over at Online Sax Academy we have a 14-day free trial which will give you access to all the courses on the site, including the Learn to Improvise course. Alright, that's it for today's lesson. I'll see you guys soon.